Calaroga Shark Media.
Hello, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Taylor Tomlinson has a dream guest for her show After Midnight. The dream guest is Conan O'Brien. Taylor told CBS Mornings, "I think he's one of the funniest people on and off stage and screen. I'd love to get him on the show." Taylor says she has a lot of freedom working that show. You're able to try new things and be weird, and our show's very weird. She explains they have a team of writers who prepare jokes for the guests, but the format also allows for plenty of improvised moments. Taylor says, "I think people go in feeling so prepared that they feel ready to riff and do stuff off the cuff as well." Taylor was trying to explain the point system on the show. Gayle King was confused and told Taylor, "I don't understand the scoring system." Taylor said, "And you shouldn't. It's absolute nonsense. I'm giving away the points. If the points meant anything, they wouldn't trust me with them. It's just me with a button." Her current tour is called Save Me, and explains, "I grew up in a church, and so I have a lot to say about that, both positive and the challenges of growing up that way. I had a lot to work through and deconstruct over the years, and I wanted people coming to the live shows to know that it was a lot about that." Election day around the corner. What happens with Jon Stewart on the other side of the election? Late Nighter thinks Jon will stick around, pointing out that he looks very happy behind the desk and totally in command, as they call it. The once-a-week arrangement seems to be working for everybody. Jon's taking all this? Well, my feeling is this election will never end, so why would I leave? How could I leave? I won't be allowed to leave until we're all ground to some sort of calcified nubs. The one thing I will say is I walked away 9 years ago because I was burnt out, and I don't feel that right now. I feel reinvigorated. D.L. Hughley finds that political jokes are low-hanging fruit, but he had some things to say about Elon Musk. D.L. says, "When you're really, really rich, what do you buy? Media. And why do you buy it? Because you want to control the narrative. You want to be so rich that you tell people what to think." As for Twitter, he says, "Instead of X, it should be 3Ks. Hughley talked about reports that X is struggling to make money. Even that tells you how much money you have and how important it is. I'll lose money to shape a narrative. I'll lose money to shape minds, to tell people what to think." Like he's literally the chief of dispensing misinformation, the chief of it. He's AI, all these kinds of things. He said all that kind of stuff, but that's how valuable having information is, the access to information. Tim Meadows has gotten a little more political and said it started when he sold his Tesla. Tim explains, "I love that car. It was not an easy decision to go, okay, I'm going to get rid of the best car I've ever driven." Why'd he sell it? Tesla CEO Elon Musk and his donations to Trump's campaign. Tim says, "I just thought it's wild that this guy can donate that much money, but when it comes down to it, he only has one vote. Just like me, we're equal in that way. So I can't give $40 million or whatever it is, but I can give something. I'm going to try to do more than just give my limited donor amount." So he sold the car. He used that money to fund a comedy caucus event. These days, Tim is driving my old beat-up Mercedes, which both my kids drove through high school. It's a 2007 C230. Tim adds, "The political rhetoric is so ugly now. I was just thinking it'd be fun to have a political night where it's just comedy." Donnell Rawlings spoke to the Chicago Defender. Donnell explained why his tour is called the Black and Mild Tour and says it was inspired by a bit of conflict with a Chicago comedian who said my comedy wasn't hot, calling it mild. It got me thinking, I don't even like hot sauce as much as I used to, thanks to some digestive issues. But really, it's more about making comedy digestible. My style is sharp, but it's something everyone can enjoy. I'm not here to be disgusting or insulting. So I took what was meant as an insult and turned it into something that works for me. You'll get a loud, fun performance with a diverse crowd at my shows, gang members, regular folks, everybody. It's become a brand that reflects my style, and people love it. Donnell talked about growing up in D.C. and said, "I wasn't the biggest or most athletic kid growing up. I had to find my way in other areas, and being funny became a defense mechanism. You're out in the schoolyard. If you don't know how to roast people, they'd roast you." It was survival in a way, but honestly, I never thought about pursuing comedy as a career. It wasn't something I set out to do. I was a military police officer in the Air Force, and when I got out, I was waiting to become a DC police officer. I was a security guard at a grocery store when this guy who worked for a promotions company gave us free comedy show tickets. We'd go just for fun, but one day, people started saying I should get on stage. The club owner challenged me to perform. Next thing you know, I'm up there. 33 years later, I haven't looked back. I never gave myself a plan B or C. I just stuck with it. Stand-up evolved for me over time. I realized it was more than just telling jokes. It was about bringing characters to life and showing different sides of myself. That eventually led me to acting. So no, I wasn't one of those comedians who always dreamed of doing this. Opportunities came my way. I recognized them and went after them. If you want a good listen, check out Stavros Halgis on Neil Brennan's Blocks podcast. I thought Stavros was really honest about his career and money and what motivated him. A really thoughtful He'd clearly done some soul searching. He told Neil, I kind of was always working towards a Netflix special because I was an internet guy. From first, it was just like I was a podcast guy, then I became a clips guy, and then it was like, I need one. My first TV credit is an hour-long Netflix special. I never had anything else, so I was like, I need that. And once I got that, I was like, all right, you did it. It's funny how these things that don't help you that much get you like industry attention. Like some list that I was well past getting. My agents were like, let's just get you on this. I was like, I'm so beyond that. But you get that. And then some executives are like, oh, I saw him on Vulture. And it's like, I'm on a list. I've been selling out theaters and I'm on a list like people who just started doing comedy. Jimmy Carr will host Last One Laughing UK. It'll be on Amazon in 2025. 6 episodes. Jimmy Carr says, I'm thrilled to be making Last One Laughing UK with Prime Video. It's sure to deliver, and if it doesn't, it will leave the fun with your neighbors. Usually when I make a TV show with 10 brilliant comics, I'm expecting everyone to have a bloody good laugh, but not in this series. The Last One Laughing wins. It's a great format, and it's been a huge hit around the world. I can't wait to see who cracks up first. When Matteo Lane isn't doing comedy, he's eating pasta. He self-describes as an Italian, Irish, Mexican homosexual, and he brings all that experience to his new cookbook, Your Pasta Sucks. Matteo says, I started making things I knew how to make and just chatting while I would cook on camera. Then people started making my recipes. They were sending me pictures and really letting me know that they were into it. Your Pasta Sucks is part cookbook, part autobiography. Matteo explains, I'm trying to let somebody know that if they don't know how to do pasta and they're in the cookbook section, it probably implies that their pasta sucks. And 2, I'm trying to make a joke that this is a quote-unquote cookbook because I'm a comedian, and the book is a mix of stories and genuine recipes. It's not Martha Stewart with 870 recipes, including 360 recipes for crostini. It's fewer recipes, but the ones I've chosen are authentic to my family, both in Italy and the United States. Matteo explains, the main component for eating a perfect bowl of pasta is to be eating that pasta in Rome. But if that's not an option, it's really about taking pasta more seriously. Pasta's been sort of watered down as it's traveled around the world. It's seen as more of a fun sponge, and everybody's obsessed with the sauce. But when you go to Italy, the pasta itself is the star. The shape of the pasta matters. You have to care about flavoring it. You want to treat cooking pasta almost like you would cooking a steak. There are a lot of little things sitting under your nose when it comes to cooking pasta that most people overlook. Meanwhile, the Vernon Morning Star caught up with Brent, but he has become a celebrity burger judge. He was at a celebrity burger tasting event at the Vernon Lodge and said, I was pretty keen. I'm a big burger guy. He tried 5 of the 12 burgers in this year's challenge, cutting each burger placed in front of him in half to share with a local businessman. He tried the rest of the burgers the next day before a stand-up comedy show. This was all for the Golden Burger Challenge, where Vernon restaurants create a special burger with $5 from every burger sold donated to a local charity. Between bites, Bytt said, they're all really good burgers, no overlap between them. Sometimes, when they're given a lot of freedom to be creative, they can almost step outside the bounds of what a burger is supposed to be, but these are all burgers. But they're all very different from each other and very flavorful. And that is your comedy news for today. Are you hungry now? I am. If you enjoy the show, tell a friend about it. They might like it too. If you would like the show without commercials, there's a link in the show notes. That'll explain how that happens. Short version, $5 a month. Get a commercial free if you're on Apple Podcasts. You can try out the whole system for 30 days for free. Hey, get to day 29 and cancel. I'm not going to tell anybody. See you tomorrow.